Welcome to another episode of Rising Tide Podcast. Again, the purpose of Rising Tide is to educate, heal, and empower by bringing on the world's most brilliant minds and pure souls. Today, I am humbled and honored to have another Rising Tide in the building. Real Accounting Reacts, Pocket Watching with JT. How are you doing today, brother?
Bro, I'm doing so good, man. Christopher, I appreciate the invite, man. I know we was playing tag back and forth on Instagram, man. I'm extremely excited to be here. So let's go.
I appreciate you. And for those who don't know who he is, he's definitely made crazy headway in the YouTube space in a very short amount of time. And you're in some powerful circles in the YouTube space as well. So you're actually one of mine. And I agree with, who was it? I think it was Anton Daniels that recently has said it, that I believe wholeheartedly what he said as far as your channel is going to blow up because, man, you need it, but man, you need it out here though, man. It's so much because, and it's so much I want to get into, man, because I fell into the Brother Polite. I got scammed by him. You know what I'm saying?
No!
The 90+2. Oh man, yeah. I got scammed by him. Now, luckily, I didn't drop, you know what I'm saying, hundreds of dollars, but I did buy some books from his website that never got to me. Gotcha. And you know what I'm saying? He would always get on live and be like, oh, if y'all got books, just email me and I'll resolve. And then nobody would ever respond to the email. So after 2 years, I just gave up. Then I also got scammed by I was one of the initial investors in the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. No! And it took me 3 years to get my money out of that. And then the funny thing is, though, I got less than what I originally put in. After 3 years, dude, like, it was crazy. I didn't even get the little $18. Right. I guess I pulled my money out before that.
No, man. Even if you did get the little bit of the dividend that he was hyping up about the dividend that they was paying, you still would take an L. Like, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Well, maybe we'll touch on that, but it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So really, just gotta tell the people how your channel, well, really what your channel does, and then how the channel actually came about.
All right, perfect. So I'm gonna go the other route. So I'm gonna switch it up so that way it flows a little easier. So, Pocket Watching with JT. I am Jason Thornton. I'm a financial advisor. I'm licensed both in tax and financial planning. I'm based out of the city of St. Louis. So literally my job, what I do, I own my own firm and I work one-on-one with clients for tax issues and financial planning. So tax issues, it can be as simple as just preparing the annual tax return, or it can be as complicated as representing my client before the IRS for collection and appeals and tax settlements. And then on the side of financial planning, it can be as simple as just working with them on what investments we need to do, or it can be holistic where we look at their budget, making sure that they're budgeting correctly so that they can save correctly and then invest correctly. And then the last part of that is always going to be retiring and estate planning, where we make sure that their wishes, meaning how are they going to transfer the assets that they worked their whole life for? How are they going to transfer those assets to the next generation? So that's what I do in real life. Now, Pocket Watching with JT. Pocket Watching with JT came about because I have these clients in real life, and social media is a part of everybody's lives. And what ended up happening was my clients would find this content online about advice on how to save money in taxes or how you can invest your money better. And what they would naturally do is they would either tag me in the post, or they would DM me the post itself, and they would ask, JT, what does this look like? Is this something that I can do? Can I add this to my portfolio? And 99.9% of the time, I would just sit back and laugh, because the people online who call themselves financial experts or financial strategists or whatever term they want to try to use, they don't know what they're talking about. They're just talking, right? They're just talking heads. Most of the time when I sit back and I watch these videos, they're not even using the language of finance correctly, meaning they are using financial terms incorrectly, as if they don't know the definition of these words. They just think they sound good. And when you're dealing with a population that is largely financially illiterate, it all sounds good to them. So my clients would be sending me this stuff and I'd have to tell them, no, this doesn't make sense because of this, that, and other. And I thought to myself, this would actually make a really good YouTube channel because now, I've been on YouTube since college, right? I graduated undergrad back in 2006. I've been on YouTube, at least, a watcher, a consumer of the content since its very, very early days. And what I like to watch attorneys who are breaking down the BS from like sovereign citizen groups. So if you got a sovereign citizen, someone who thinks that they don't have to have a driver's license to drive, they don't have to pay taxes, they don't have to do this, and they argue with cops in the car, or they'll argue with the judge in the courtroom. I love to watch attorneys break these videos down and explain why the person is wrong. And I looked at the whole landscape on YouTube and I thought to myself, there is not one accountant doing something similar. I mean, because I searched. The reason why I make the content that I make is because this is the content that I was actually looking for to watch as a consumer of the content. I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. And there was one or two things either going on. Either one, this is a great idea that no one's touched on yet and I can try to jump on it. Or two, I'm the only weirdo that is looking for this stuff and nobody cares. So I jumped out on faith and said, maybe it's the first part. Maybe it's no one's jumped on it yet and it's a great opportunity. So that's how Pocket Watching with JT kind of was birthed. It was birthed out of necessity.
Hit a home run, bro.
Right.
You hit a home run because
I feel like I got lucky.
How many subscribers you at now?
I'm this close to 35,000. I started uploading videos in November. And I want to say for the first 4 months until April, I didn't even have 1,000 subs. So you're talking about from April 2021 to October 2021, I've got this close to 35,000. So it's amazing because I know it was a grind to get 100. It was a grind to get that first 100.
It's serious. I mean, even just to monetize to get to 1,000. So many people.
Oh man. Yeah. I heard stats that where they was like, man, it takes 5 years. I'm not sure I understand. For the average YouTube channel, from what I was getting from, because the second you get a YouTube channel, you start researching all this stuff. And it was like, on average, it takes like 5 years to get to your first 10,000. And I was able to get there within my first like 3 or 4 months. So when I was looking at that, I was like, man, I think I got a good idea. I think I picked something that's going to be a winner.
No, facts. And then you were able to get picked up by people like O'Shea Duke Jackson, the lead attorney, all these other people y'all almost rising together.
That was a huge advantage. So in econ, we talk about competitive advantages, right? My competitive advantage was O'Shea Duke Jackson and the lead attorney both kind of found me at the same time. Actually, the lead attorney actually invited me on his channel to be a guest on his show back when he had 11,000 subs and I had around maybe 2,000 or 1,000 subs. It's just that he didn't have his setup ready to do interviews yet. So in the meantime, while I was waiting for the lead attorney to have me on this show, O'Shea Duke Jackson, who already kind of knew of my content, he actually came to my page one time and just left a comment, said that he liked my content and whatnot. He ended up interviewing me, and that was a huge blow up. And then eventually, me and the lead attorney was able to do some collabs. That was a huge blow up. So I was really blessed by being in the right place at the right time with the right content.
No, facts. And what I like about your content is because, like I was saying, it's much needed because I was very naive when I was younger. Not having, and it's, not, I don't blame my father or whatever, but just not having a close relationship with my father. I was kind of like just out here, just doing whatever I wanted to do and not really, seeking counsel. And so when I would see people online, like a Brother Polite, and he's super flashy, and then he got the women and he talking real articulate and real good and all this other stuff, it would just make you blindly follow him, hyped off of emotion. You're not even really logically. Same thing with Jay Morrison. Really got me with Jay Morrison. And so much so because it's like for so long with Brother Polite, the reason why, because for like 2 years, I would never even look at one of those videos and be like, he's a fraud or just anything negative. Because I'm just like, you know, you watch a video with him, he'll convince you, oh, they hating and you don't know. And about 6 months after me kept trying to get my book and all this other stuff like that,
like, oh, maybe.
Let me check this. And then, bro, when I even just from the first video, I was just like, bells just all rung off and all that. And I was just like, dang, got it. So now my alerts be up. But that's why I like your show, because it's like so many people, it's like they prey off of just the younger generation, just excitement of just, oh, you could just do this, you could just do this, not really knowing everything that goes along with it, or not really knowing how difficult it really is, or how rare that really might be. People just be like, and they're willing to literally throw their savings at this or just put everything into it, and it's just like, dude, who are you really following, bro? So that's why I feel like your channel is really needed, like, because it's really just making people really think and seeing for what it really is. Because now, like I said, I'm skeptical of everybody now after being, oh no, technical difficulty.
All right, can you hear me? I don't know why the camera doing this again. Okay, there we go. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I don't know what happened, but I'm back.
No worries.
All right.
But yeah, like I was just saying, though, now I'm just skeptical of everybody. But now it's like when I watch your channel, because now I'll be like tuning in and all your videos now. So, but it gives people, like you said, it's trying to train people to not get taken advantage of it.
Yes.
Like, look at it how an accountant would look at it.
That's the goal, man. Honestly, that's the goal. I want people to think like an accountant. And when I say that is, as an accountant, we are trained to look at financial information in a particular kind of way. It's kind of opposite of what the general public looks at money, or they look at financial information. And, you know, we're trained like this because there are decisions that need to be made based on financials, right? It doesn't matter if we're talking about an individual family or we're talking about a business. You have to look at the financials to be able to make wise choices within a household or within a business. And when I see these presentations from these financial experts, I know it's BS because I actually know how this stuff works in real life. And my attempt on Pocket Watching with JT is to give people, you know, some entertaining information, but I want you to be able to walk away and have a little bit more of a critical eye when it comes to financial tips from people online.
So what would be some telltales or some like red flags that, especially in the day and age with social media and Instagram, it's like everybody got cars now and everybody can show you how to get rich and do all these other things. What's the red flags to filter through?
The red flags are going to be some stuff that's just real old school. Number one, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And this is what I mean by that. There are going to be people online who can tell you, I know how to make people millionaires. I'm a 7-figure coach. I can do this. I can do that. Look at what I got. It's, you know, I know people who do this stuff. And here's the issue that I have with them. They are able to go online, and because they are able to pull up in the video in a Lambo, they're able to sell a financial coaching course that may cost $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. The issue is what they're teaching you in the course. I don't care what they say. They may say that they're teaching you how to sell stuff on Amazon. They may be teaching you how to rent your car on Turbo, or they may be teaching you how to make money with Airbnb or wholesaling real estate. I don't care what it is. 9 times out of 10, if you actually check their financial information, they do not make money doing any of those things. That is not how they make money. They make money selling you the hopes and dreams of you making money doing that stuff. They do not make money doing the things that they are coaching you to do. So the reason why they're able to pull up to the video in a Lamborghini, or they're sitting in a mansion, but the mansion is probably an Airbnb itself. The Lamborghini is probably rented. And yeah, they're able to flash thousands of dollars, you know, in front of you on videos, because they're making tens of thousands of dollars, because people like you out there, you're buying these courses, and these courses are very expensive. So that's how they're able to live their lifestyle. But it is BS, because they weren't able to make money doing the things themselves. So clearly you're not going to make money. And this is the craziest part is this is what ends up happening. You get into a sales funnel, meaning after every class, when you're done with the class and you're not quite a millionaire yet, they'll say, don't worry about it. That was just class 1. We're getting you there. Now you need to take class 2. It's a little bit more expensive, but you're almost there, so you might as well do it. And they do that over and over and over again. And the funniest thing that I've noticed is at the very end of the course, they level with you. They be like, listen, if you really want to make money, you need to sell courses. So then you find the person who was doing all these courses to become a business owner, to rent cars on Turbo, to sell items on Amazon, to flip real estate. You find this person who wanted to be a legit business owner. Now all of a sudden, now they're a financial coach. And now they're selling courses because they got to the end of the rainbow and noticed that there was no pot of gold. It was just another opportunity for them to turn into a mini fake guru. And that's what ends up happening. So people, red flags, a higher than normal rate of return. But if you're financially illiterate, you really don't know what a normal rate of return is going to be. Well, here it is. An average rate of return is going to be somewhere between 6% to, at the extreme high end, 12%. That's what the market can give you. Meaning if you would just simply invest your money in the S&P 500, you're going to get a market rate of return somewhere in between there. So if someone says that
that's a year?
Yeah, that's a year. That's a year. So when someone comes up to you and say, oh man, I can flip your money, meaning I can double your money, that's way more than what the average investment can get you. So you got to scratch your head and say, why are you giving me this opportunity? Because this is how it goes. If someone tells you I can flip your money in 3 months, why the hell are they coming to you? Someone who is clearly probably not a millionaire, right? If I'm going to talk to like 20 people in a day, most of the people are probably not millionaires. Now, when I'm talking to my clients, it's a little different than that, but I'm talking about general people. If I'm just talking to general people, the average person I bump into is not a millionaire. So the people who probably are listening to this, you're probably not a millionaire. So think about it this way. If someone comes to you, either online or in person, they say, man, I got a can't miss way to flip your money. It would be stupid for them to go to you, a person who's making maybe $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year. You probably living paycheck to paycheck. Why do they want to flip your money? You don't have that much money to begin with. It's going to be tough for you to come up with the money in the first place. If I have a can't miss way to flip someone's money, I'm going to go to not even a millionaire. I'm going to go to a billionaire, someone who is willing to give me $3, $5, $10 million and not even ask me about it until maybe 10 years down the road. That's what happens with hedge funds, right? Hedge funds are private investment vehicles where when people invest in it, they don't expect to see their money back 10, 20 years. That's why the whole Jay Morrison thing I knew was going to be a failure, because you're going to be dealing with a bunch of people who are probably financially illiterate who are going to want their money back, not 5, 10 years. They're going to want their money back like tomorrow if something goes wrong. So if someone is claiming that they can get you a better than market rate return and you're not some millionaire or billionaire, it's probably a scam.
No, that's facts. And even like, I want to talk there for a little second because with what Jay Morrison did. So
right.
And it's like another thing that makes it hard is that so many other people that we give so much social credibility to don't be saying nothing. And I'll be like, all right, I respect your mind based on everything that you posted and everything that y'all talking about and everything. I'm like, all right, I respect this person's mind. And this person seems to believe that Jay Morrison is innocent or just does everything right. And I'm like, and it just kind of, it just shakes me, bro, because I literally, it's so many people that I deeply respect in my heart of hearts. And they really rock with it. And I'll be like, is he good? How? Is he not good? Is he, what the?
Right. So here's how it works. A scammer in general, right? Let's just take Jay's name off of it. I'm just going to give you a character. A scammer in general, if they are successful at what they do, scamming, they are a extremely charismatic person, right? You can't be, there's not many really successful scammers who are not likable. They're likable people. If they were not likable people, they probably would be in the back of the scam and not the front man. When you're the front man of a scam, you're going to be likable. And here's the issue. People are multifaceted, meaning people have so many different parts of themselves. All right. So if based on everything that I've seen, if I was to go out with Jay Morrison, go bowling, or go watch a football game, he would probably be an extremely likable person. I would probably like him. We'd probably be able to have a pretty good conversation. We'd laugh, we'd joke, and then we'll go home, right? But that doesn't mean he's not a scammer. So when he is dealing with the people who you're talking about, people who you've seen who have credibility, and then when they work with Jay Morrison or a person like Jay Morrison, you see that like, why are you lending your credibility to this person? Well, if they never seen that side of his personality, then they're unaware. Now, in social media world, it's kind of weird for them to be unaware of all the allegations of fraud, but there's a misplace of I'm gonna ride or die for my friend until it's too far and beyond. So I've seen there are people in the social media world who are influencers who continue to work and collab with people like Jay Morrison because most likely the business dealings that they've done together haven't gone left yet, right? So to them, it's not that big of an issue. Now, I do have issues with people who claim to be financial experts, but then they lend credibility to a figure like Jay Morrison. And my issue with them is they should be wise enough to know. And if they don't know, then they're a bigger fraud in the financial world than what they really are. But so let's look at it at two ways. Either someone who claims to be financially literate, and not only financially literate, a financial expert, if they would lend their credibility to the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, one of two things are going on. Either one, they're not an expert in the way that they're presenting themselves, or they are an expert, but they are turning a blind eye because maybe they're getting money on the back end, which happens a lot, or they just got this issue where it becomes almost affinity fraud, where you start to identify with the fraudster and the fact that he's a part of your community so much that you don't look at the actual fundamentals of the company. So fundamentals of the companies are the actual figures, the numbers, the profit and loss statement. So when you take a person like Jay Morrison and Tulsa Real Estate Fund, and you just take a step back and you look at it, what is it? You have a guy who was a real estate agent on the East Coast. He has no history of running any type of investment fund whatsoever. He filed for personal bankruptcy just a few months before starting this fund. If you take his name off of it and you put Warren Buffett's name, or you put any other person's name on that rap sheet, on that bio, no financial advisor would throw money at that, because they'll say, no, you filed for personal bankruptcy a couple of months ago and you want to manage my client's money? There's no way. There's no way we're going to do that. But he went to a community that's, one, largely financially illiterate. Two, he wasn't talking about numbers. He was talking about Black power, Black economics, rally behind identity politics and identity, do for self. But now after you give the money and you're 1 year down the road, 2 years, 3 years down the road, and you don't see any returns, what you don't really see him popping up talking about that. He's finding all these other things to do. I even saw where he said he's going to start his own political party. He's doing this, he's doing that. It's like, hold on. How about you manage my money in this fund that you took? Why are you finding all these new things?
What frustrated me was when we initially made the investment, it was like you said, he talking about Tulsa, he talking about, we building hotels, we doing
buying a city. There was a billboard that said that they was gonna buy a city.
And then he buys the black house,
right,
builds that, houses all of his businesses in there that does it for rent free. And I'm like, that's what I'm seeing. I'm like, bruh, I be seeing all these social influencers at the actual Black House. I'm like, bro, y'all know that this was built not off of his money, but off the money of the people. And the people ain't getting no money back from that. They're not even benefiting from anything. Yeah. He's the only one that benefits. He houses 100% of his businesses out of there rent-free now.
Right.
Like,
I don't like to give these influencers any leeway, but this is the little bit that I will give. A lot of these people are extremely isolated. They don't, one, I think it's for personal protection. They don't want to know what they don't want to know, so it makes them compromise. But they also put themselves in a situation where they're unaware. Let's transition to Brother Polight real quick, all right? So you take a character like Brother Polight. Brother Polight is known on these internet streets as a scammer. Right? He's known as a scammer. A lot of people believe him to be a scammer. There's documentaries about him scamming. There's victims online who have recorded videos showing that they were scammed by him. There was even an attorney who was representing a client who had receipts about the scam that went on. So all that, think about all that. But yet and still, he can still find himself in rooms with or next to taking pictures with celebrities. Right? How is that possible? That's possible because you have celebrities and influencers who they're extremely busy. I will say that they're extremely busy working on their brand, and they're not watching the YouTube videos that we watch. Right? They're probably too busy. They're busy making videos. They're not watching the videos. Then when another celebrity brings him in the room, they assume this person's already been vetted. Right? So when Metta World Peace brings him to an interview on the Breakfast Club, because I'm pretty sure the interview wasn't for Brother Polight
at all.
The interview was for Metta World Peace. Brother Polight came with him. And because I'm figuring the host of the show, they want to accommodate their guests, they're going to allow him to bring someone in. Not thinking, hold on, we need to protect our brand. We asked for Metta World Peace. We don't know who this gentleman is, so we're not going to give him a mic, right? So that's a failure on the Breakfast Club. That's a failure on DJ Vlad. And what ends up happening is other celebrities say, oh man, he's been on the Breakfast Club. I've been on the Breakfast Club. He must, so they make a lot of assumptions. But here's the thing, and to tie it back to my channel, Pocket Watching with JT. Accountants and financial advisors, we are trained not to make broad assumptions. We have to verify this information. I can't just give you $200,000 of my client's money because you claim you can give me a good return. I've got to check you out. I'm going to check your background, right? I'm going to do a background check on you. I'm going to check any firms that you worked with. I'm going to do all the due diligence possible, because if I do mismanage my client's money, not only are they going to go after you, the scammer, but they can come after me because I wasn't acting as a fiduciary. Now, these podcast hosts, these radio hosts, they don't have the fiduciary responsibility that a lawyer or an accountant has. So they can just say, well, I thought he was cool. I didn't tell y'all to give him y'all money. We can't say that. If I introduce somebody to my client as a potential source of investment, and that whole investment goes left, and it was clear things that I should have done the research on to protect my client, I'm liable. So I bring that type of concept and protection to Pocket Watching with JT, because you're not going to get that anywhere else, because these podcast hosts like Earn Your Leisure, these guys, Earn Your Leisure is based on what I've seen. These are two brothers who have built a very impressive brand around helping people in our culture get more financially savvy. But I believe on their growth, they kind of got a little bigger than what they were ready to get. And there's been situations where they have allowed people to get on that platform who are absolute clowns and frauds, fake gurus, 100%. And instead of coming back to their platform and coming back to their audience and saying, hey, listen, we interviewed so-and-so maybe about a month ago. Turns out so-and-so had no idea what he was talking about. The information that he gave out is extremely harmful if people actually take action on that information. We are distancing ourselves from this person, and we want to make sure everyone's aware of that. They never do that. They were even asked that question in an interview before. And what they said that they do, well, we just take the video down. That's what we do. If we go back and we find out that someone gave some bad information or this person turned out not to be who they say they were, we just take the video down. See, they're assuming that people know what that means because you took the video down. But in this world, just because you take a video down doesn't mean anything, because the scammer still got the video up on his YouTube channel, right? Not only that, a person could just think, oh, you probably got that on your Patreon, your private channel. So you have to tell people why you took the video down. Otherwise, I feel like you're doing a disservice to your audience.
Yeah. And you just got to tell people you took it down, because just taking it down and not mentioning it, don't.
People don't watch a video 100 times. Man, trust me, I look at my YouTube analytics. There are people who will just watch the video one time and they'll watch maybe 20 minutes of a 4-hour video and they're done. So just because you take it down, they're not looking for it anymore. They got the info that they wanted and they're running off with it. So you can put yourself in a situation, just because you took the video down does not mean you are protecting your viewership. You're not protecting your audience by just taking it down. You need to take it down and put up another video explaining the situation. They won't do that. And because of that, I feel as if they lack a degree of integrity that an accountant has.
No, facts. And I agree with you. And you are right that does make the integrity question kind of, you know what I'm saying, kind of wondering, because you're right. Like, just wanting to just make it seem like, oh, we didn't make any mistakes, and trying to be silent about it instead of just being open and honest about it. Like, look, he fooled us too, bro. We didn't know, like, but
just be upfront about it. It's like, listen, man, what he was saying when he was on, it sounded real good to us. But then later on, we found out that, some of the stuff that he was saying was fraudulent. So we just want to let y'all know, we took the video down and we are letting y'all know, do not follow. But here's the thing about that too. They also make money off their guests, right? I mean, to me, this is shocking and amazing, but they're so cavalier about it. They was like, yeah, what happens if they bring on someone to their show, and that person is a financial expert, they're selling a course, because that's how people are making money now. They sell courses. That's how people make money online. So if someone they bring on the show is selling a course, and the link down in the video is where you can buy that course, Earn Your Leisure is getting a percentage, a kickback for you buying that course through that link. So now they are financially incentivized to bring this person on. They're financially incentivized to maybe cover up some BS, right? Because if you stop buying the course, they stop making money off the course. And if their last resort is, okay, this guy's clearly a scammer, so we just gonna take the video down. Did you give the money back, right? If he's clearly a scammer, did you say, okay, we made about $20,000 worth of commissions off the sales from this scammer? Are you giving a refund? Of course not, because they don't even know who to give the refund to, because they got the money directly from the scammer. The scammer knows in his back office who the people were who actually bought it, right? So they're not doing that. So once again, to me, that is it's another ding to their integrity. I will not accept money from a scammer, right? It's not something that I'm not gonna accept money, even though if I know something's wrong. I'm not gonna do it, because there's so many ways that I can make money legitimately. I don't need to take money from a scammer and look the other way.
No, that's true. And even for people that have heard the information and then acted on that information, like the HIM 500 situation with the Navy Federal, and people are taking
what do you do then, right? So if that person, so we're talking about the HIM 500 situation. For those of you who are unaware, you can go to my channel, Pocket Watching with JT, and watch my video. But to summarize it, HIM 500 was actually not at an interview for himself. Here's another thing about tag along guys. What ended up happening was The guys from Earn Your Leisure were being interviewed for Big Facts podcast. It's a podcast that's being hosted online with Revolt TV. And on that interview that was for Earn Your Leisure brought their whole entourage, their whole crew. So you had Wall Street Trapper and you had Him 500 and a bunch of other guys in the background. Now, clearly this interview was just for the two guys, but they brought their whole team with them. And what ended up happening was during the interview, the Earn Your Leisure guys were being asked questions. And what happened was Him 500 was in the background answering something. So they said, no, here, man, you answer the question. So once again, this is a situation like with Brother Polight. Brother Polight was not invited to the Breakfast Club. Metta World Peace was. But because he was in the room and they gave him a mic, he was able to get a little shine. Same situation. Him 500, Marcus Barney, was not invited to this podcast. Earn Your Leisure's guys was. But because he was in the room and he seemed as if he had an answer to a question that the host had, they said, give him a mic. And what came out of his mouth was basically giving people advice to commit bank fraud. And this is summarizing, this is basically what he said. He said, you want $100,000 from a bank, but you don't have any collateral. The bank's not going to give you that much money. You don't have any credit. Maybe you have a criminal past or something like that. So you're not going to get that money. He said, well, this is what you do. You can go to a credit union and you can claim to that credit union that you want to buy a car. You don't want to really buy a car, but you tell them you want to buy a car. And when they ask you, what car do you want to buy? Just go online and Google and find a car that's for sale. You don't want to buy it, but just find it. And you give them that car's information. You print off the VIN number and stuff for a car that you don't claim you never really want to buy, but you're lying to the bank that you want to buy it. He says the bank will then cut you a check to buy the car. And then what do you do with the money? You don't buy a car with it, you keep the money. And what the bank will do after 90 days, when the bank realizes you never bought the car, they'll simply convert your auto loan into a signature loan. A signature loan is basically a loan with no collateral. That's what he said. And that's how you can do it. Now you can then take that money and you can invest it in the business and the stuff that you want to do. Well, what Him 500 doesn't realize, and apparently all the guys in that room didn't realize, and what's really frustrating, one of the guys from Earn Your Leisure says that he was a financial advisor at one point. So I don't understand why he doesn't realize this. But the information that he was given was basically instructing you how to commit 3 federal crimes. And I'm going to list them easily. The first federal crime, was bank fraud. If you are given a bank application and you knowingly misrepresent information on that bank application, that is bank fraud. You are really stealing. This is how the FBI looks at it. You are stealing from that bank because you are using this application as an instrument to steal, because if you would have filled out that information correctly, you knew you couldn't get that money. So you're going to falsify information on that form to take something that you know you have no right to actually have. So that's bank fraud right there. Boom. Then, in order for you to be able to cash that check, if the company is writing the check in the name of the person who owns the car, who you claim you're buying the car from, now you're going to have some sort of conspiracy, because how else are you going to get that check cashed? You're going to have to take that check to either someone who will cash a check that's not in your name. That's a conspiracy to defraud the bank, because now you're bringing in new people into the scam. It's not just you. You're bringing in new people into the scam to be able to cash that check, right? So now that's a conspiracy charge. Then the last piece of advice, he said, use the money and invest it. You can invest it in Bitcoin. You can invest it in your company. That is money laundering, because you're taking stolen cash that you received illegally, and you're putting that money into a legitimate investment. That's money laundering. So that's 3 federal crimes that you committed from the advice from Him 500. So to tie that back in, what do we now do? Because you come up, and they didn't say anything until after my video came out. Until after my video come out, they say, oh, well, yeah, we weren't aware that what he was saying was wrong, right? Okay, but yet you still rock with this guy. And what if someone committed the 3 crimes that he suggested for them to do? You apologizing? Is that really going to do any good for them, right? If they're locked up and doing Fed time, how does that help them? Your apology. So my issue is, and it's not just them, it's a lot of different people online who claim to be financial experts. We have to hold these people accountable. That's the main point.
No, and that's facts, because you're right. And even I remember my freshman year of college, and I know you're a Sigma Mama Nu. My freshman year of college, before I actually pledged, though, like I said, I was just out, you know what I'm saying, just doing things, being naive, looking for fast money and everything. And a friend came to me and was like, yo, bro, I got these traveler's checks, man, and I make a lot of money from it. So I was just like, oh, what is that? He was just like, man, gave me a box of them, bro. Like, I had so many of them. I'm 18 years old. Each of one was $100. I would go to like a Walgreens or a CVS, just buy like a stick of gum or a pencil or something for $1 and get $99 in cash. And I'll do that like 10, 12 times a day. I did that for like a month before I ended up getting caught, just because I got sloppy. I would originally go in suits, but you know what I'm saying? I got so comfortable. I started going, bro, it ended up getting, and then the dude was like, my boy from high school, a dude that had influence over me. He was an older athlete that I looked up to. He was like, yeah, bro, it's just like a misdemeanor if you get caught. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even no big thing. You know what I'm saying? Just get pro. Yes, and that's what I see felony.
That's the FBI, yeah.
See felony.
So what ends up happening is, whenever you play around with banks, the FBI, the federal government, has the authority to come in for financial crimes like that. So it's wire fraud. The second you start playing around with banks, because what ends up happening, you think, I'm just giving a check to this local little store. But that's not what happens. What happens is, if you're giving that check to that store then puts that check into the banking system. And when you put that check into the banking system, now the bank is sending out signals from your bank to the bank that's supposed to have had that money from travelers, right? So their bank, they're going to go to their bank, and they literally don't have to go to the bank. What happens is their computer is going to send a signal from the bank that, the store deposited at, and they're going to send the signal to the bank where they think the money is. Then if the signal comes back and either they give you the money, and then later on they find out it was fraud, if they never gave you money, the signal already went out. So now that the signal is out, it's wire fraud, because you facilitated and used the banking system in a fraud. And that's why the feds can come after you. It seems like a small thing, but it's not.
That makes perfect sense, because I actually didn't receive the money because they had went to the back and all that stuff like that. And I was just like, yo, this is taking way longer.
They're probably verifying. Yeah,
and then I got arrested, and you're right. So because they just sent it out,
they had to send a signal to find out, even though you didn't get it. It don't matter.
Wow.
You were attempting to use the banking system to defraud that store out of $99.
That happened like 14 years ago, bro, and that didn't make sense until just now. This is wow. But yes, that's why I appreciate, your channel so much, because for people out there who don't have an authority figure like you that can like, yo, nah, bro, that's too good to be true. Nah, well, think about this, or what's his credentials, that can really have you stop. And because a lot of times they'll just get you excited off the emotion, and once you're excited about it, bypasses your logic. So it's like, to have somebody like you that's like, I know you're excited, but hold on, let's logically think through this. It could save so many people, bro, because that made life unnecessarily hard for me. People be like, oh, you're an entrepreneur and all that. I'm like, nigga, I was forced into it, bro.
I had to do it,
right? I'm trying to get a minimum wage job, and they're like, oh, I can't hire you because your character. I'm like, bruh. It's like, so yes, bro, that's why I'm such an advocate for your channel, bro. Why I really do believe, like Anton said, that your channel is going to blow up, bro, because you will prevent so many people from just falling into them traps.
I appreciate it. Now I got one closing thing, because I gotta go to the gym. I promised myself to work out, but I got one closing thing that I want people to stick in their mind. I haven't really even talked about this on my channel yet. So if y'all watching this, y'all getting something that I'm gonna present on my channel sometime later. So this is an exclusive for y'all. All right, here's the deal. Scammers prey on your kindness. Let me flesh this whole idea out. Most people don't even realize where the term con man comes from. Okay, let me explain where the term con man comes from. The term con man actually means, it's an abbreviation. The full term is confidence man. That's the full term. People all your lives, you probably heard the term con man, and you never knew that con was actually short for confidence. And let me explain how it happened. Years ago, years ago, there was a guy who would go down to the fancy district of town, right? I'm pretty sure it's somewhere on the East Coast. But he would go to the fancy district. He would put on a suit, all the, the fancy clothes, and he would walk down to the people, and he would bump into people and act as if they were old friends. What would happen is the person would be so afraid to offend him by saying, I don't know you. I don't remember you. Right. And this happens in day-to-day life. Someone might bump into you, say, hey, man, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, you're trying to think, man, what is this person's name? I can't quite face it. But I'm going to fake through it because I don't really want to embarrass him that I don't remember. And I don't really want to make it seem like I got a bad memory. So I'm just going to fake through the conversation. Person walks away and your girl's like, who was that? And like, man, I don't remember. He remembered me, but I don't remember dude. Right. People, trust me, man. Hey, I'm 38 years old, man. I know this stuff. All right. So back then, this is what the guy would do. He would walk down to fancy people. He looked the part because he looked just as fancy or fancier than them. He would start up a conversation. Then at some point in the conversation, he would say, man, do you have the confidence to let me borrow your watch real quick? And I know that sounds funny, but just imagine, this is olden times. This is how they talked. He would say, hey, do you got the confidence to let me borrow your watch real quick? And then, I'll be back. The person would be like, okay, here's the watch, boom, boom, boom. He would take the watch, go, boom. That was his hustle. That was his hustle. And they called him in the newspaper, the confidence man, because that's what he would say. Do you have the confidence to let me borrow this or borrow that? And because the person who was the victim was afraid to seem rude, they would give him what he wanted to borrow, right? So I'm just laying that as a groundwork of that's where a con man comes from. He preys on your confidence. He preys on your kindness. Now, what can you do to kind of combat that? It's tough, right? Everyone doesn't have my personality. I do not care if I seem rude, right? If you watch my video, and there's people who comment on my videos about you cut your guests off all the time. Like you interrupt your guests. Sometimes you overtalk your guests. That's rude. Yeah, to you, that's rude. But me, I'm trained. If I hear something that I don't like, if I hear something that seems a little off, I'm not going to let you keep talking because you're wasting my time. I'm going to cut you. Hold on. Stop. Say that part again. See, con men don't like that. Con men do not like to be challenged. They want the conversation to go smoothly. They want to be able to dictate the whole pace of the conversation. So when you start to cut them off, make them explain things. No, say that part again. Stop. Oh, hold on. Where's the numbers on that? Where did you get that from? Where's that stat coming from? Hold on. Let me Google that real quick. When you start to do that, it repels a scammer, right? So one gem, and the thing that I want to leave y'all with is, if you want to kind of beef up your armor from being scammed, ask probing questions. Ask questions that you may even think will offend the person who's pitching you on the investment. Because if they're legit, they should not be offended. They'll be able to provide the information. If they're a scammer, they're going to be offended, and they're probably going to be like, oh man, well, this investment ain't really for you. You got to be a baller to get in this type of investment. You're scared money. Scared money don't make no money. Blah, blah, blah. They'll say all those things to try to get you to do it. But me, I will embarrass a scammer in a heartbeat. I will be rude to a scammer. This is the way I think about it. If you're asking me for my money, I have the right to be rude to you. Because to me, you asking me for my money is rude. I work hard for my money. And if you are asking me for my money, that was the first offense. Now, if I come back to you and challenge you on what you say you're going to be doing with my money, and you're offended, deal's done. And that's how it should be.
Bars. Hey, man, I don't want to take up too much of your time, man. Definitely want to keep you on your gym goals, man. Right. So I definitely appreciate you, man. Just please let the people know how they can find you, how they can support you, what you got going on right now.
Yeah, I appreciate it, bro. So easiest way that you can find me, you can go to pocketwatcher.net. That is pocketwatcher.net. All my links are in there. You can find my YouTube page. If you click pocketwatcher.net, you can find my gear. I got a store with different gear and clothes and stuff, and also my actual practice. So if you want to get a consultation from me, we can do a consultation online. If you have any tax or financial questions, you can click that link and you can even do a consultation with me. So you can go to pocketwatcher.net.
What's your normal ticket for consultations?
Consultation is $300, $300 hour consultation. This is what I suggest to people to do. Before your appointment, make sure you write down all your questions. Because as you see, I can talk. So I want you to make sure you write down all your questions. If you happen to have letters from the IRS, make sure you don't try to go off memory. Bring the letter from the IRS that you want to talk about. If you have some sort of issue with a financial questions or maybe some documents came to the house, make sure you have those documents with you and you can share them over the screen, or bare minimum, you can show them to me and read them to me so I can help you out. But I always say, come to the appointment prepared with questions already wrote down. That way I know I'm going to be able to answer all the questions that you have.
Facts, and I'm definitely gonna book an appointment probably within the next couple of weeks, because like I said, entrepreneur, and just speaking honestly, I haven't, done the taxes in probably 3 years. So
here's the thing, you're missing out. You're missing out on so many government programs, bro. You gotta file them because they're giving so much money away. Well, not giving, I mean, they're lending money to small businesses based on COVID, but you have to have your paperwork right. Now, I've got clients who've got $500,000 from the federal government on a 30-year fixed rate loan, no collateral, right? You got to have your numbers right so you can take advantage of this financial system that we're in. So yeah, we're gonna talk about it.
Now, one quick question. Yeah. How has your YouTube channel blowing up helped your private practice? As the numbers just went through?
Yeah, so the online consultations are popping, right? Before I did this, I didn't do online consultations. So my practice was pretty much limited to the St. Louis metro area. Now, I've always had clients in different states, but we kind of did it old school. Like, we would talk over the phone, they would fax me their documents, maybe email me their documents. But now I have a whole new infrastructure for my practice where, man, it's almost 50-50 people in the St. Louis metro area and people who are all over the country now because of COVID and the different technology that's out and available now. Now, people weren't really doing Zoom that much before COVID. Now everyone's doing Zoom and people are comfortable with that. So yeah, absolutely. Pocket Watching with JT has helped on both ends, my private practice and the YouTube channel. Everything's really working out. So I can't ask for more. Yeah.
Well, all right, bro. I appreciate y'all coming on Rising Tide, man. Again, the purpose of Rising Tide is to educate, heal, and empower by bringing on the world's most brilliant minds and purest souls. If you made it to the end of this episode, you already know we had a Rising Tide in the building, and y'all better check out them consultations before the price goes up. When you get 200,000 subscribers, bro, right. I know your ticket goes.
I won't be able to keep up, man. I tell you this,
it's gonna be $15,000.
When Kevin Samuels gave me a shout out, man. When Kevin Samuels gave me a shout out, I was like, hey, man, the price might have to go up. The price might have to go up. Too. I was
like, hey, that's lit, bro. Hey, so much success to you, bro. Yeah. Any way I can be of service, please let me know.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm gonna definitely reach out to you for that consultation, bro, within the next 3 weeks. Appreciate you.
Perfect. Just hit me up, man. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. You have a great night.
Have a prosperous day. Peace.
All right.